Welcome to the very first visual thinking case study. This is taken from one of my coaching sessions I had with a client of mine. Her name's Emma, not her real name, but we'll call her Emma for the purpose of this presentation. Now, let me give you a bit of background about Emma, and then I'll break into discussing this visual thinking process that we went through while I was coaching her. Now, Emma is a woman who's been working within an industry for about 15 years now. So she's around middle age now, approaching middle age, and she's not very fulfilled. Feels stuck even though she's in a secure job and everything. She's had this dream for a long time to actually have and own her own restaurant business. That dream never really became a reality until she met her boyfriend's sister, who also has a passion. And they were talking, and she decided that, or they both decided that they wanted to start a restaurant together. And so they're about to go in the very next day to get a loan for a restaurant to partner up in this big decision they're about to make. And then Emma has a coaching session with me, and I thought that it would be a great idea. Let's just visualize your options. Let's just work out. I know you're 100% happy with this and you want to go forward with this, but let's just visualize your options and see what we have. Hopefully, this exercise, this presentation will give you a bit of a perspective of how visual thinking can be applied into a lot of different situations. This is a very simple presentation, but we will break it down into more bits and pieces and give you a little bit more structure in the future. So let's take a look at Emma here. The very first question I asked her was, who is involved in this decision that she's about to make? After, of course, I asked her to write down the question, should I enter the restaurant business? So that was the problem. That was the big dilemma that she had. Should I enter or should I not enter the restaurant business? By the way, I was doing all the drawing for her on a live call, and she was seeing live how I was drawing these pictures and formulating everything that she was saying on the computer. So the first question was who? Now, it was Emma and Michelle, who was her partner. I asked her about Michelle, a little bit more information about Michelle. What are the positive traits that Michelle has? So she's hardworking, trusting, capable, not tied down, passionate. These are all the things that Emma knew about Michelle. But then I also asked her about some of the negatives or drawbacks that she would find working with Michelle. And then these things cropped up. She doesn't know her financial habits. She hasn't seen her under pressure, and the restaurant business deals with a lot of pressure. She hasn't seen her under pressure. She doesn't know her well. So this automatically raised a red flag. Let's put that to the side now, but it got Michelle thinking a little bit about the situation. Now, we also considered her two other options. So two options, there was no third option at this stage. There was two options. So she could stay within her current job, which she was secure, she had a lot of money, it was quite comfortable, she had a lot of knowledge and experience in the area, or she could launch her own business, where we looked at the positives, where she really liked her partner, she had the freedom, she could have flexible hours, and she'll be living her dream, which was fantastic for her. She was all for this. But then we started to look at the negatives of both. Obviously, with her current job, she feels stuck, she feels upset, she feels like she's not growing. However, the negatives also on the restaurant side of things, where she would work very long hours, and financially, she might not be very well off for a long time, and she also needed to borrow money to get a loan, so that would put her into debt. And then there was also uncertainty surrounding the whole business. She didn't have that experience. So again, this raised a red flag. What I wanted to know after this was what her resources are, because I wanted to find out whether she was capable of actually running a restaurant. So let's back up here and then come back into the resources section. So I asked her, what are the resources that you currently have on hand that would help you in the business? Don't worry about these crosses and ticks for the moment. I'll explain them later. She had time. She would quit her job. She would have the time. She would have the money because she would get the loan. But then again, she still needed the money, needed to be approved for the loan. She has the knowledge, but she doesn't have the knowledge in some respects. So that's not a resource that you could really rely on because she's never entered the restaurant business. The experience, no, she hasn't really had any experience in managing or being in the restaurant business. Because she works in a food distribution company, she does actually have the contacts within the industry. She has the passion, has the commitment, but she doesn't really have the beliefs. So she doesn't have the beliefs or the skills to run a restaurant as she sees herself or she saw herself in the past. All this got me thinking and trying to work out, okay, well, maybe she doesn't have the resources, but she does have the passion, she does have the commitment, so maybe she can pull it off. But I need more information. So then I started asking her other questions. And what we started to do is we started to look at her ideal life. Well, Emma, tell me, what is it that you ideally want from your life? And these are the things that she listed. So she listed that she would like to work for herself, which on the blue one, that's a tick. She would like to have flexible hours, time to relax with family and friends. However, in the restaurant business, you can't really relax with your family and friends because the restaurant business, especially at the early stages, just takes over your entire life. You have to be there a lot of the time, you have to manage and everything. And then financial security. Would it bring her financial security? Because that's what she wants. There's a big question mark for that. What about a simple life? Does she want a simple life? Yes, she does want a simple life, but a restaurant business might not bring her that simple life, especially at the beginning. And also feeling like she's growing. A restaurant business will definitely help her feel like she's growing. This got me really interested and thinking because all these ticks here, well, there aren't all these ticks, these blue ticks, because we've got the restaurant marked in blue, they're not really there for all these points. So then I wanted to ask her another question. What don't you want in your life? And she said being bored. She definitely won't be bored in the restaurant business. Stressing out. She will be stressed out in the restaurant business. She doesn't want to, she wants little time. She doesn't want little time. She wants plenty of time on her hands. But a restaurant business will eat up her time. A restaurant business might even eat up her money. And she doesn't want to be bogged down in work. And yet a restaurant business will bog her down in work. And she doesn't want to be feeling stagnant. A restaurant business will definitely not make her feel stagnant. But we were looking at this, and overall I wanted to look at her resources, the contacts, the experience that she had. And I also wanted to look at all the kind of knowledge that she's gained for working with this company for 15 years, the food distribution business. And it then suddenly dawned upon us that maybe her ideal opportunity wouldn't be working in a restaurant, but actually consulting to restaurants, because she's had all this experience within the industry, so she could potentially maybe become a consultant. And then we looked at option 3. I kind of squeezed it in here because option 2 obviously wasn't very equal to her ideal reality. But then when we looked at option 3, her consulting business, consulting to restaurants, what happened is all these ticks, these purple ticks, started to come into play. And she suddenly realized that, wow, this business could actually be for me. There's less risk, less of things going wrong, less chance of things going wrong, and all these things will come into play. Obviously, she doesn't have any experience, and things could still be uncertain, but they're all good things. That's all part of growth and learning and progressing forward. And then we looked at what she doesn't want, and I inserted the purple indicators here for her. And will she be bored in a consultant business? No. Will she be stressed? No. Will she have little time? No. She'll be very flexible with her time. Little money? No. Consultants can get paid a lot of money. Will she bogged down on work? No. She can be flexible with her time. And also feeling stagnant. She definitely won't be stagnant. And we also looked at her resources, and she'll have the time. She'll have the money because there's not a lot of startup costs. She might not have the knowledge, but she does have the experience working within the industry. She has the contacts working within the industry. She has the passion, commitment. She has the belief and the skills. And the belief in skills didn't come through initially when she was talking about the restaurant business. There was something about that she just didn't really truly believe in herself that she could actually make it happen. And then we also come back to Michelle and the red flags that were raised here. And everything pointed to the fact that this consulting business was the best option for her. So out of nothing, out of two options, arrived a third option by visualizing her ideas, and everything started to come into perspective. She even informed me about this whole process at the end when we had completed it, that this was an incredible process for her, that if I wouldn't have visualized things for her as she was asking, or as she was answering the questions I was asking her, that she wouldn't have been able to formulate these insights and ideas. And the great thing about it was that during the session, during this period of time that I was talking to her, she was actually going through the visualizations, and she was kind of contemplating on things here, making links over there, and it was just a great absorbing experience. But before we finished off, what I decided to do is I wanted to get her thinking a little bit about the future. So we talked about the first step. So what she would do, she decided that she would undertake research and stay with her job full-time for the time being. After that, she would start up a consulting business and work part-time at her job. And then she would launch into the consulting business full-time. And that's where she is right now. That's the stage that she's finally reached. She's moved from part-time to full-time work, and she says that she couldn't be more fulfilled and happy. I hope that this example, there will be many more in the future that I'll give you about different types of visualization exercises, but I hope that this example has shown you that utilizing pictures, utilizing a frame of reference with the different aspects of this visualization, line connectors, using colors, using tables, using ticks, symbols, whatever it is, you combine all these things, you can create a great visualization of your thoughts on paper. And that's where the incredible things start to happen, because you start to create insights, you start to create ideas, and everything starts to just kind of absorb into your being, and you start to see a clearer picture of your decision, of the decision that you're struggling to make, or the problem that you're trying to face. So I do hope that this has been a really insightful example for you, and that you can gain something from this. In future videos, in future explanations on the Visual Thinking Magic blog, I will explain in more detail other exercises that you can do to help you enhance your visual thinking skills and abilities. For now, all I want you to do is, all I want for you is for you to be able to absorb this information and be excited, be inspired that visual thinking can actually give you these new insights, these new perspectives, these new understandings of things that you wouldn't have been able to capture if you were just keeping everything in your head. Get it down on paper and you will formulate ideas like you never imagined were possible. This is only the beginning. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.